Hello my beautiful friends, it's Amanda here and it's time for the final video of the year and the final video in my Best of 2021 series. Today it's all about palettes and I'm going to challenge myself to talk about my top 15 palettes of the year in 15 minutes. If I don't do this, I will ramble forever and this video will still be playing by the time it is 2022. So a couple of things to keep in mind because I am going to try to breeze through these palettes. All of these have been previously swatched, reviewed. A lot of them have things like comparisons and tutorials and a lot more in-depth info elsewhere on my channel. So make sure you check the description box and I will have a link to a video with way more info. If any of these palettes catch your eye, you can check those out. And just sort of a reminder, we all have different preferences, different personal styles, different priorities when it comes to makeup. So we may just have different favorites. It doesn't mean anybody is wrong. It just means that we have different preferences. I think that's really cool. Plus, as far as my favorites go, I try a whole lot of products, hundreds if not thousands of different beauty products every year, and I still can't even begin to scratch the surface of every product that's available throughout the year. So these are my best of the year out of the pool of things that I've tried. So if you feel like I'm missing out on something, then definitely let me know in the comments. I end up buying a lot of things because of your suggestions. I'm going to start with 15th place and work our way up to first place. So these are ranked, but I reserve the right to change my mind on my rankings at any time because I often do. This list has been rearranged many times and I'm sure I could rearrange it again if I wanted to, but I'm just out of time. The year's almost over, so here we go. Let's start with number 15. This is the So MERMAIZING palette from Clarity Cosmetics. This is kind of a surprise favorite for me because I am not a pastel type of girl, but I will tell you the shadow quality in this palette is absolutely stunning. The packaging is adorable. The theming is completely on point. These mattes are super soft, blendable, very, very opaque for pastel shades, but the true standout here are these shimmers. They are stunning, shifty, foiled, really a metallic mermaid eyeshadow dream. Next up is another indie brand palette. This brand is new to me and this is the first palette I ever tried. Obviously it was a hit because it's ranked at number 14 for this list. This is the Break the Rules palette from It's Belle Cosmetics. Also kind of a surprise favorite here, not just because this brand is completely new to me, so I didn't really have the expectation of them making the best palettes of the year list, but this is an all shimmer palette and I am somebody that really likes an even split of mattes and shimmers, but the shimmers in here are stunning. We are getting some really fun, useful, high quality, shifty duochrome shades, and this palette is under $30. This is such a great deal and a great little palette. Next up we have a collaboration palette. This one is from Lethal Cosmetics and my friend Teresa from Teresa is Dead. This is the Lethal is Dead palette. This year I became hooked on the Lethal formula. Their mattes and shimmers are both just a stunning, high quality, high performing formula, and this color story is one of those that is out of the box for me. It's simultaneously really inspiring and I also feel very comfortable using this color combination. It's high performing, it's well curated, it's user friendly, and it's not boring. I just can't say enough good things about this palette. If you watched the first video in this Best of 2021 series, then this next palette is going to give you a little bit of an indication of others that you will see in the future. In spot number 12, I have the It's a Mood Mega Palette from ColourPop. I'll try not to go on too long about the ColourPop palettes in this ranking because I did a whole separate video about why I love those. But for me, even despite the fact that there are some pressed glitters in here, which are a no-go for me, I love these shades, these rich jewel tones. I love how different this is and just how many different looks I could get from this one palette. So that is why I love this beautiful jewel toned It's a Mood. Now, as usual for my ranking videos, I do find a way to cheat and sneak in extra palettes by including a bunch of palettes from a collection and ranking them in just one spot instead of multiple spots, as they probably should be. But this is my channel, so I can make the rules if I want to. Anyway, in spot number 11 is the Huda Beauty Wild Obsessions palettes. These are so cool. I couldn't pick just one. Sorry. Sorry, or you're welcome, depending on how you feel about this. It is so exciting to see something so colorful coming from Huda Beauty. We do typically see a lot of reiterations of these neutral palettes. We have the new nudes, the naughty nudes, the nude obsessions. We get a lot of these pinky brown color stories, and to see such bright, vibrant color stories, such interesting textures, I love this. This is really invigorating as a makeup lover, and I really hope that we continue to see these fun, colorful, inspired, different releases from Huda. In 10th place, another collaboration. This time is between ColourPop and Tinkerbell. This is the Sprinkle a Little Magic palette. I would struggle to critique a single thing about this palette. The packaging is beautiful. The shades are perfect. The formulas are stunning. I honestly believe that this is the absolute best Disney collaboration that ColourPop has ever done. A very close 9th place, also from ColourPop, is the Limoncello palette. The Limoncello palette is like summertime in an eyeshadow. It just makes me feel so joyful. I love using these colors together. I absolutely love the formulas in these larger pans. I just think all around this is well-rounded and just fun to use. Believe it or not, this is not the last time you're going to see blue appearing in a palette in my favorites. Now in 8th place is the BH Cosmetics Passion in Paris palette. I'm a fan of pretty much all of the travel palettes from this BH Cosmetics series, but I have to say, I think this is one of my top favorites of them all. The color story is so different from anything that I have in my collection, and BH has really stepped up their formula game. A few years ago, they weren't really bringing much to the table, and I have to say, these are shockingly good. They perform like high-end shadows. There's an interesting, inspiring color story, and again, at just a great price point. You cannot beat it. Our only NARS palette this year, this is the Climax eyeshadow palette. Looks can be really deceiving with this palette, and I am not talking about the fact that the outer packaging in no way correlates to the shades inside. When you glance at the pans here, they look like your average run-of-the-mill neutral palette type of colors, but don't let that fool you. This little palette is such a powerhouse. These shadows are incredible. I reached for this palette so consistently just because it's so user-friendly. My eye look always looked amazing. It was easy to pair these shadows, but it was also easy to get a more interesting look with these blues and greens, and these foiled shadows are top notch. In spot number 6, I'm cheating again. Here are 3 palettes that are all going to get the same ranking. These are from Odin's Eye, and these palettes are part of their legendary Diversa collection. This collection of palettes is an absolute triumph. The styling, the packaging, the shade selection, the formulas, everything about this collection is inspiring. It makes me happy. It's user friendly. It's just such a great little collection. I cannot say enough good things about it. I have a whole video where I just rave and rave about it. So definitely check out that video and definitely go support these creators because they made amazing palettes. Alright, top 5, here we go. In 5th place, another ColourPop palette. It's the one I'm wearing on my eyes today. This is the Orchid You Not palette. This one was featured on my ColourPop favorites page, so I'm sure it's no surprise to see it ranked this highly. It's purple, it's ColourPop, it's jewel tones, it's everything that I love. In 4th place, an absolute surprise, probably to everyone, definitely to me. This brand is a newcomer to my collection, and I have been absolutely blown away by the quality. In 4th place, we have the Alamar Cosmetics ENCANTO palette. This is a newer palette for me, and typically I don't rank things this high if I haven't been using them for a really long time, but I have not been able to put this down. I think this is beautifully curated. It would be easy for anybody from a beginner to a seasoned makeup lover to use. I'm never bored. I always have different eye looks coming from this one, and every single time it looks great and it's fun to use. My 3rd place palette is one that I liked instantly and I've actually grown to love more and more and more every time I use it. I'm talking about the Rose Quartz palette from Huda Beauty. First, we just have to take a moment for this packaging. It is so beautiful. I hate to admit it, but that is a factor for me, and this is one of the prettiest palettes I've ever seen on the outside as well as on the inside. I'm not typically a very cool tone type of girl, but I have gravitated toward this palette so heavily, and I have to say the shimmers in here are some of the most beautiful shimmery shades that I have ever used from a mainstream brand in my life. In 2nd place, this is my number 1 ColourPop palette, number 2 palette overall. It's the Lush Life palette. The fact that this is my number 1 ColourPop palette of the year should just say it all, because I do try a lot, pretty much all ColourPop palettes that come out every year, and this is top notch for me. Beautiful packaging, really fun colors, still approachable color scheme with that mix of colors and neutrals, a mix of mattes and shimmers. I cannot say enough good things about this. I do think this is one of the best ColourPop palettes of all time. I wonder if everybody has guessed by now what my number 1 palette is. I'm kind of sad because this is no longer available. This was a limited edition palette, but it would be crazy for me to put anything else as my number 1 because I do believe that this is the best palette that released in the year 2021. And that's the Club Nebula palette from my friend Angelica Nyqvist in collaboration with Kaleidos. This palette is absolutely epic. I wish that this was still available. I wholeheartedly stand by the fact that this is the best palette of the year. Congrats, Ange. Absolutely crushed it. This palette has everything I'm looking for and more. Absolutely luxe inspired packaging. I mean, just look how beautiful the graphic design is. The shades in here are completely different from any other palette I own. The shadows perform stunningly. They look great on the eye. They look great in swatch. They look great in the pan. Everything about this is exciting, inspiring, and just incredibly high quality. We may have gone a little over 15 minutes total for this video, but as long as my ranking was under 15 minutes, I'm going to consider it a win because I can be quite long-winded when it comes to talking about eyeshadow palettes. Considering that my filming time is under an hour right now, I am going to call it a win. I would love to hear what your favorite palettes of the year were. Do we have any of the same favorites? Is there anything that you think I need to try that didn't make it into my best of series this year? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Did that make sense? Likely not. Getting wild palettes. Whoa, whoo. What if I just like threw them in the air? I would never do that. These are very expensive. Wow. I'm such a mom. We won't count the bloopers, okay? Those will be extra. What's the word? We did it, guys. We did it. We made it to the end of the year. I'm so proud. Proud of all of us. I'm really proud of you. And I just appreciate you. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad that we're YouTube friends. And I'm just going to give you one more great big hug. Bring it in. Bring it in. Alright. We're going to make next year even better. And I hope that I see your beautiful face back here soon because I love it. I love your face. Okay. I'll see you soon. Alright. Bye.